Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a little section on your website about nutrition.
Hmm.
Do you have experience with nutrition and autism?
Yeah, for sure, and both anecdotally from parents and patients, but also from some research. I know a lot of families have found gluten free and dairy free to really make a difference for their child. Um, and I think it's largely due to some of those proteins are just harder for their body to process. There's a lot of challenges with these kids with methylation and how well they can basically process certain B vitamins. And of course, if they're struggling there, then that means it creates a ripple effect into other aspects. And so, good nutrition can be make a really big difference. In fact, one family I was talking with a couple weeks ago, just from some of the changes they made with diet, huge improvements with some behavior and some of the habits that this child was displaying. Getting rid of like the some of the big no nos that we all should be avoiding would be the different food dyes. Red food dye, yellow, all those different ones can create some excitotoxicity and to the nerves and can cause some added stress. Um, Reducing the inflammatory components in our diet, such as I would definitely strongly recommend, and this is something anyone can apply, and actually it could be a benefit if you're not doing it already. But with the type of oils that we cook with, for example, canola oil and soybean oil, very highly processed. You could argue that it's maybe best used in a tractor because it's definitely not designed to be consumed for us. And it's a large part of it is just the way that it's manufactured and processed, and so it's very creates a lot of inflammation on the cellular level. So removing that and exchanging it with like butter or ghee or olive oil or coconut oil or avocado oil, those types of things, much better option when it comes to cooking is using something like that. And it's something anyone can do. It's just without feeling the overwhelm. Unless you bought a lifetime supply of canola oil, then I'm sorry, but you just exchange it. So you're going to still cook with oil or something like that. So instead of using this one that's more inflammatory, let's bring in this one. That's a healthier option and can still get the job done the way you want it to. So, so those are some things that we have seen and witnessed with some of the families, and then definitely, reducing some of the processed sugars. That would be a big one too. And I would say, gluten is interesting. I think that if it was gluten from like say 1980, that would probably be okay. But the way
Yeah.
that our farming has developed and that's become more industrialized, and of course they use now what they call Roundup Ready crops using glyphosate, which can be very damaging to the intestines as well as the nervous system. Glyphosate's the main ingredient found in Roundup. And it can cause leaky gut, which means if you have leaky gut, then you also have a leaky blood brain barrier. And so anything we can do to reduce any exposure to some of that. And unfortunately, a lot of the wheat and the gluten that this country consumes, sadly, has probably been sprayed with some of that stuff. So that's another piece that I think is why some kids are more sensitive as well. But again, there can be some different challenges genetically that can make them have a harder time with digestion and processing some of that.